Okay, hi. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this session about RYLA and the chance to serve as a facilitator at the staff. This is a great chance to get an overview of the camp with also about the role. So I'm Todd St. Vrain. I'm from the Rotary Club of San Francisco, where I'm the Vice President for Youth Services. I have had the pleasure of being a facilitator for the past 2 years, and I'm Deputy Director for the RYLA, leading student recruitment and facilitator recruitment. So I'd now like to ask Susan and Linda if you could introduce yourselves, please. Make sure you're unmuted. Susan, yeah?
So I'm Susan Call, and I acted as a facilitator last year for the first time. And Linda and I were roommates and decided we really wanted to help with creating the training and the surround for new facilitators. So that's what I'm doing this year.
And Linda? No?
Linda, you're
Linda had to
muted.
mute. Yeah, you go. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm Linda Birnbaum, and last year was my first time as a facilitator for RYLA, and it was fabulous. And I am a member of Mission San Rafael Rotary in Marin.
Great. So thanks for everyone for joining us. In the interest of time, I'll just kind of quickly go around and see where of the results of our poll. I'm not sure if everyone had the chance to see it, but we can see that we've had people coming from across our district, but also outside. And which that I see that, we have a range of people who, their background, and also that we can see that we're pretty much 50-50 about Rotarians and friends and family of Rotary. So it's good to know if you've been either to RYLA. I know that there's maybe some of you've been as a student yourself, or, that you've been a facilitator or things like that. In terms of the final things, so musical taste here, we can see that there is a broad range of interest here. So that's just a little bit of fun in order to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly kind of go over the camp, and then Linda and Susan will go over the facilitator role in particular, and then we'll open it up for questions and answers. We're a small group tonight, so I think it'd just be easy to unmute ourselves. So let me go ahead and share my screen here and bring up the slides here, and there we go. Let's go back to the beginning. So RYLA sometimes stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. It's also been called Rotary Youth Leadership Awards, Awakening, whatever the A is. What this is really about is a transformational summer camp for high school students supported by Rotary. And of course, the goals of the RYLA are to foster youth leadership development, to inspire their personal growth. And we're also promoting mental well-being through friendships and camp fun. I only recently learned the history of RYLA, and I think it's really significant that RYLA has been an official part of Rotary since 1971, and that each year there's an estimated 50,000 young people going through the camp at RYLAs really across the world, which is incredible. So our RYLA, which has been going for nearly 38 years, and its antecedent Camp Enterprise. And of course, RYLA is free to the students thanks to the generosity of the support of our Rotary clubs in our Rotary District 5150, making up of San Francisco, Marin, and San Mateo. So for the camp, it's a 5-day residential camp experience for the students, but for the staff, including facilitators, It's a 6-day experience. So just to not make sure that there is any confusion, the staff all arrive on Sunday afternoon, July 28th, and that then the students arrive on the morning of Monday, July 29th, and then everyone goes home on the afternoon of August 22nd. So you might see different dates on the websites, but just to clarify that it is starting on the 28th for when the staff come. We hold our camp down at Redwood Glen Camp and Conference Center. It's a really beautiful location near Scotts Valley, in Scotts Valley near Santa Cruz. We provide buses to and from the camp from the 3 counties for the students. Of course, the staff, we make our own way, and often we'll try to ride share. So the camp each year can have 150, this year possibly more, a number of students, which is also dependent upon the number of facilitators that we have. And they're coming from nearly 50 schools throughout our 3 counties. So students have to be current freshmen, sophomores, or juniors at their high schools. So if you know any 8th graders, they're too young. If you know any seniors, unfortunately, they cannot participate in our RYLA. So they have to be living or studying in one of the 3 counties because it's our Rotary clubs and our district that is supporting it. There are other RYLAs throughout Northern California. Occasionally, we do make exceptions so that if there are students who are living or studying outside of the district but have family members who are Rotary members within our district, each year we have several of those. So joining for RYLA, you're going to be part of a team of 60 staff, all volunteer. So facilitators, we also have alumni staff. There's also admin support, nurses, so very big team. Linda and Susan are going to talk more in depth about the role of facilitator, but basically your role is to work in pairs to guide a group of 10 to 12 students through their camp experience. And we do try to put new facilitators with returning facilitators. And again, it runs the gamut from college students up to retirees. And depending on the number of students that we have this year, we could have a need for 30 or more facilitators. So we're great to have everyone's interest. Alumni who have been through the camp come back. They could be still in high school or in college. They are also staff. They're helping to run the activities, and they are sharing their testimony. And it's further development of them as young leaders. It's unpaid, but we do give some scholarships out for their service and excellence to help make up for the time away from, say, a summer job. So let's talk about what happens at camp. So we talk about leadership development as opposed to leadership training. Training implies that, you follow these set of instructions and out you come as a leader, where we take the philosophy that everyone has some leadership potential. We're all at different places, and it's all about best practices and connecting with what's right for you. So this is a model called the 5 Practices of Exemplary Leadership that comes from Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner. So Model the Way is all about leading by example. Inspire a Shared Vision is that, you're getting everyone to work together to achieve something greater than themselves. Challenging the process, where we're questioning, why and how we do things, coming up with solutions. Enabling others to act, and Encourage the Heart, where we're really drawing upon inspiration and positivity. So this is a big theme of the camp. Another theme that we talk about at the camp are learning about the different leadership styles. And we all have our own combination of styles, but we tend to have one that is predominant, and that this is reflected by an animal. So we have the lions who take charge, get to the bottom of everything. Peacock's a little bit flashy. They're very much about, building relationships with others. Owls are very observant, and they are very detail-oriented. So our koalas are very observant. Their thing is really about creating harmony. So we have a little inventory, that everyone can do, including the facilitators. So it's also a chance to learn more about your leadership style. So the images that you see here are from the students learning about their styles and then talking about it in groups to see strengths and challenges, working with different leadership styles. So another theme of the camp is a hero's journey. So often in fiction, there is someone who, an unlikely hero that no one maybe thinks of as a leader, say maybe Harry Potter, and that there is some threat, to, like, say, Lord Voldemort. And so then it's about this hero's journey of the hero rising to the challenge to confront the threat. And in doing so, they transform themselves and the world around them. So each team at RYLA picks a movie with the theme of a hero's journey. So one year I was Finding Nemo, and last year Kung Fu Panda. Susan, Linda, do you want to unmute yourself and share what your teams have been?
Well, my team is showing there in the lower left quadrant. We were Winnie the Pooh, and they're wearing Pooh ears.
Yes, and
And
Linda?
my team is up in the left, to me, left top, and we were Ratatouille, and for our skit, we're wearing the aprons that we decorated, our chef's hats, and using our wooden spoons.
Yes, very creative. So it's a tradition at RYLA that the facilitators will buy a small gift for the team that has to do with the team name. So that's why you see people wearing like Shrek ears, or I had everyone had a little panda clip on there. So it's about having fun, but it's also about building team identity. So I think that takes us to the next thing, that team building is very much a part of what RYLA is. So we do have in the mornings a ropes course. So you can see in the one picture here that students are on a low hanging cable and that they're trying to get across it without falling off, and that the others are there and they're all learning about to trust each other and how you communicate. Ziplining is a lot of fun. We should note that you as facilitators are there to observe and that it's making sure everyone's safe. Sometimes at the end, time permitting, you can participate in these activities, but the focus is on the students doing it. Mary, do you want to talk about our experience of when we did this on the little cable, the ropes? Do you want to share your experience of what that was like?
Sure. It was a lot harder than we thought it was going to be, but it was so much fun. I don't think I laughed so hard in years. But
Absolutely.
and I think it was fun for the students to see the facilitators being involved as well, and it was just a lot of fun. It was interesting because I can feel the support that they were giving me and which I needed to stay on that darn rope, and I can experience what they learned from us facilitating them on the rope, and then they're giving it back to us. So that was a great experience.
Absolutely. And I agree. I was there with Mary, with some of the others, and we just have not laughed that hard. And yeah, the students really got a kick out of, they see us as the authority and they're the one, bend your knees, none of that. Now, again, zip lining is completely optional. I don't know. Linda, you're a grandmother. Did you get up and do the zip lining?
I certainly did. And it was
awesome
because we had an odd number of kids, and there's 2 on a platform. And she kept telling everyone how honored she was to fly with me at the same time. So I did. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Again, Again, it's completely voluntary. It's not a requirement. So another way that we're teaching team building is last year we started a collaborative mural art project where we had 2 large canvases and the students were painting the themes of the camp, of the 5 leadership practices, their team names. There's also a lot of group reflections that facilitators will be leading. And the final night, the students put on skits. Again, it's the facilitators, it's the students, not the facilitators, But in your nightly team meetings, you're getting them to work on the skit and even getting them to reflect about how they are working together to produce the skit is a chance to learn about, teamwork and leadership. So RYLA is also about personal growth. So we have what are called plenary sessions, which is just an all-group session with a speaker. It's been on things of topics relevant that youth care about, climate change, homelessness, mental health. We also have personal development workshops. So we have one on money management. Mary and I were part of a team talking about life after high school, planning projects, self-care. Sometimes the facilitators are, leading these sessions. It's not a requirement that you do. We also have, outside guest speakers that come, but certainly on your application, if there's a topic of something that you would like to lead on, we would welcome that. So then each night we have what's called the campfire. It's a large amphitheater with a stage, and the alumni all get up and, they all share testimonies about what RYLA has meant to them. And we also invite students to come up and share. And again, it's not mandatory, but many do. Sometimes it's very funny. Often we are just moved to tears about what they are sharing, with us. And I think that the personal growth comes in many forms. So TJ Chartrand, who's one of our facilitators in the video, he came to camp as a student. He said he was so nervous, he almost didn't get on the bus. So even coming to camp is a big step for them, or maybe getting the courage to speak in front of the entire camp. A lot of students say this is their first time going away to an overnight camp. That's a big step. A lot of students also just say how important it is that they're making friends. We all probably have friends around the country, maybe in the world, but the students say, I'm from Burlingame and I've never met friends from Chinatown or Novato. And that's huge, expanding, their worlds. RYLA is also a lot of fun. So there's camp activities and everyone, according to the facilitators, are welcome to participate. I was at the pool every day. There's hiking. After the campfire, we do fun things like roast marshmallows, make s'mores. There's also a karaoke dance session that the students and the facilitators are welcome to attend as well. So in terms of RYLA's impact, it is truly incredible that sometimes the transformation that you see in just 5 days, for some others, the things might not click in until the end of the, months later. But a lot of students will say, things like, I came here to camp, I had social anxiety. We've even had students in the past share that they were suicidal and that RYLA has literally saved their life, which is incredible. A lot of students say, I really feel like I'm being listened to and heard. I found my tribe. I am ready to take on the world. And a lot of say, this is the best week of my life. And we hope that it also will be one of the most memorable weeks for you as well. And Mary, you had your hand up. You wanted to say something?
I did. I just wanted to share with everybody, all the facilitators here, that my great niece went to her first RYLA 2 years ago. And last year she came back as an alum, and she was a shy girl, and it was amazing. And she actually spoke and told her story last year of the transformation that she's gone through by attending camp. And then we just had a baby shower for her sister, and she ended up being the MC for the entire event. So her transformation just from attending that week in RYLA has made a huge difference for her. And she's planning on coming back again this year as alum, and then eventually coming back as facilitator, she said.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. And that's why it's so incredible to be a part of this. I often, it's really challenging sometimes not to get, emotional and teary-eyed about it because it's such an impactful thing. So we thought it would be helpful to give a sample day in the life of RYLA. It's a full day, it's a full night, it's a full week, but it's also incredibly fulfilling, as Mary has just said. So the mornings are usually dedicated to the team building activities that we've just talked about. After lunch, that's when we have the talks, the personal development workshops, and then there's a break in the afternoon. The break for the staff of the facilitators is a little bit less because we have a team meeting to kind of go over things. And then after dinner, that's where the facilitators are with your group, and you are getting them to reflect on the day, what they've got out of it, plan for the next day, plan for the skits. You're welcome if you want to go dancing and karaoke, but if you want to head to bed too, that's okay. So again, just to kind of give us some idea of the facilities, so the students are in cabins. They are in bunk beds, and that's gender-based, and the alumni staff are down in the cabins to help oversee them. The facilitators and other support staff, we are on the other side of the camp, mostly in what I would call like a Motel 6, a Econo Lodge, just twin beds. There's also a couple of cabins, but those aren't bunk beds. They're just, they would be like regular beds. So yes, so we have, meeting rooms. This is a picture of the dining hall outside where there's some, picnic tables. Of course, there's a swimming facility, sports field, you name it. It's a lovely setting. You'll see deer and wild turkey, warm days, cool nights. So I'm going to turn over now to Susan and Linda. I can drive it, so just let me know when you want to go to the next slide. So Susan and Linda, over to you.
Okay, so I'm going to start. And the facilitator role is to sort of be the adult, the watcher, the safety person. All those morning activities that Todd talked about, the team building activities, are led by alumni, and the facilitator role is to be there to help kids that need help, to talk to people that need being talked to, but not to lead all those activities. In my experience, the kids bond with their facilitators, want to talk to them, want to have somebody around who knows what the rules are and what people are supposed to be doing. But it's not, Todd, when you went over that day, it's like, oh my God, such a long day. And it did not feel like that long of a day. You're with your students. The time you're on the most is that evening meeting where you draw out the insights of the day, you help your students facilitate their own meeting in the evening while still, keeping the thread of leadership development and people helping each other and people coming out of their shells, which happens slowly over the course of the week sometimes. So your job is to be not a parent, but to be that warm presence, but also that boundary presence. Linda and I were in our beds at 10:05 every night. So I don't know, Linda may have been karaokeing a few nights, but you're not on, from 6 in the morning till midnight. So I think, any questions about that?
There's a question from Joe. Joe, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and ask your question that you just posted to the group.
Sure. I was just wondering, as a new facilitator, would I be paired with an experienced facilitator on my first camp?
That's our intention. We hope, it's all depends on the number of volunteers that we get, but it's definitely our intention to pair new ones with experienced ones.
Yeah, I was with a much younger young man who's in school in China and has come back every year, who had been a leader for 5 years. So it was really helpful to have him, and you get a tremendous amount of support from your camp colleagues and the kids and the alumni. It's a great atmosphere, and you're just not left there hanging. And you don't have to come up with curriculum as a former teacher and administrator. It's really great.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go to the next slide?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. On here. There we go. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to talk about the benefits of being a facilitator. It really develops your skills as a leader. It's you really get to understand deeper the personal growth and the mental well-being of young people. It's a tremendous bonding experience. These kids are so different. You're with a group of 12 kids who would never ever mix, and there's only, I think they're mixed on purpose, so they aren't at all with their friends. And I didn't have one student who was friends with anyone, and it's amazing how they integrate and how even talk about at the end of camp that these are people they would never be friends with, and they stay in touch, and it's really heartwarming. And it really is fun, and it's inspirational. You hear the kids share their feelings and what they've gone through at home, and they're very open. And I mean, really, you sit there as an adult and you're crying because you're so moved. And this is just a 5-week camp. And seriously, it has such an effect on these kids. And you can't come back for a second year as a camper. So many come back as alumni, and they really continue to build their leadership skills. We're really diverse. We're all really caring. Friendships, professional connections. It's people. I didn't know anyone when I went to camp at all. No one. And I've left feeling I'm friends with a lot of the people there. And the camp's sunny. It can be very hot, but it's at a camp. And the one thing to know is there aren't great distances to walk. You get a map and you think you're going for miles, and it isn't that way. So it does give you benefits as well. Next slide.
Okay.
So Todd, we thought you would do this slide.
Oh, sure. I can go over this. Yes. So applications are due by April 15th, and that's on the RYLA Camp website, and let's go to Facilitators. We appreciate that if you're not certain about your ability to commit for those days, that you could still go ahead and apply to get the process started. We understand if things come up, that you are fully having intention to come and you have to pull out. So we would encourage you to apply by April 15th, just so that we can get the ball rolling. That also will kind of give us an idea of, the number of the students will also be applying by April 15th, just to see where we're at. Sometimes we extend the deadline for both, but with going, so there is just a simple Google form that you do. From there, you will then get a call from either Linda or Susan, just to kind of have a quick chat. For some of you, if you've been through the training before of, RYLA in a box, it's not going to be that rigorous. But for people that maybe are unknown to us, also it's a chance to kind of go over these things if you have any questions. From there, then Rotary does have a youth protection certification program. So Rotary takes very seriously its commitment to working with young people. And from there is a separate application, and then you would get probably a phone interview, likely with David Dye, could be others from our district who are our youth protection officer. You do have to go through providing fingerprinting, background checks on that. And you do have to provide 3 references. I think we might only be contacting 2, but I guess the other important tip is, if you are providing references, please be making them aware that, you're listing them as a reference and that they're going to be contacted soon. Because if they don't know, they're going to get this call about RYLA and they're like, what's a RYLA? And what, yes. So that would be our other tip, and just encourage them. I think there's like an online, like a form that they have to fill out, but we really do need to have like 2 of the 3 references in order to, to meet Rotary's requirements for youth protection. So maybe that would be a good chance to stop. And I see that Jenny has a question. So Jenny, please. Yes.
So I got fingerprinted, and thank you. I got fingerprinted and applied previously, but I did it on, I facilitated online, during the pandemic. I've never facilitated a live camp. Do I need to go through the process again to get fingerprinted and, you know, the whole thing?
I don't think so, but we will. I don't know, Susan or Linda, can you
No.
confirm that? My understanding
No,
is no.
if you've been fingerprinted and been approved to be a youth leader, I believe you do not have to go through the process again.
Yeah.
Okay. But still apply though, right? Just so to
Yeah.
show interest. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. All right.
In fact, Jenny, if you haven't applied yet, we do have a separate form for returning facilitators, so I can make a note to send that. So if there's anyone else who has gone through, you know, kind of the screening or fingerprinting, let me know. You can't find that form on the website, but we have that. And I mean, we would still know too if you talk to Susan or Linda in the phone call, but yes, that would help as another way to having to go through all that again, certainly. Any other questions? I'll just stop sharing my oh, I guess we'll go to the training next. Any other questions about applications? No? I know we had tried to say we can go to 7:30. We'll keep going, but if you have to leave, we will be sending through the slides and the recording of this for anyone do that. So Linda and Susan, do you want to kind of go over the facilitator training?
Me to do
Let me do this very quickly. There will be 2 training days in June, 2 hours each, Saturday mornings on Zoom. And Linda and I are putting this together because we were both new last year and we felt like we didn't know enough coming in. So we're really trying to put things together so that you feel more grounded when you come into the camp. We will make recordings if you can't attend the trainings. Part of what we'll be discussing is how do you facilitate those groups, you know, what kinds of icebreakers might you use? What kinds of questions might you use? How do you do those nightly meetings in case anybody feels uncomfortable with facilitating small groups that way? There will also be some youth protection training. And then on the Sunday that people come to camp, there'll be kind of there'll be a tour of camp, or a reminder of how the days work, so that you really do feel prepared when those kids get off the buses on Monday morning.
we are going to have, oh, sorry, Tom, we're going to have,
Say go back.
we're going to have all this online. So I'm not even sure if the training will take 2 hours. I have a feeling it'll be much shorter, which is good.
Okay. So thanks, Heidi, and thanks for signing off. We'll make sure you get the recording and everything like that. Perhaps maybe I'll just stop sharing my screen, and maybe Mary, if you could come back on. What did you find useful for the training, or things that you wish you would have known, you know, going into the camp that you didn't?
Things I wish I knew going into the camp was what to pack and what not to pack. I ended up with like 3 suitcases, of which I only wore maybe 2, 3 different pairs of pants, because you get the t-shirt there. So you barely have to bring anything. So my car was just overpacked. I wish I had known what to pack. The other thing is I wish we had in-person sessions to kind of practice some of the facilitation questions and just being comfortable with that. I don't know if we're doing any in-person meetings at all, or get-togethers with training, or is it just?
I don't think we are, Mary, but we can probably add a segment of that on the Sunday so that people get to practice.
Yeah.
And Mary, there's going to be on the website already done a very comprehensive list of what to bring.
Okay.
And if it's not on that list, you don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was important.
And you all need to know you get shirt, you get a sweatshirt, you get a little flashlight, you get a name tag, which is worn all the time, so you don't have to keep trying to remember everybody's name.
But I think just come with an open mind, get ready to not only transform the lives of the young kids there, but also you'll be surprised in what you'll learn. But I had a great time.
I think one of the things for me, that one of the greatest challenges I found was that I had my first year, especially, I had mostly introverts, and had a lot of koalas and owls. And the biggest challenge was just getting them to open up. So that's why I've introduced all of these icebreakers and games. And, you know, it's all really designed just to kind of just to kind of get them talking and things like that. I know Judy's another one of our returning facilitators. Do you want to kind of just describe your experience and just kind of the gamut of what are the things that you're dealing with as a facilitator?
Well, I have to say have loved being there, and as you well know, I think, of course, initially you're going to have some really quiet ones and some that maybe are not so quiet. So I think the initial challenge is to be able to talk to all the quiet ones and get them kind of going. The icebreakers work really well. They really get into some sort of game. I'm not real good at leading those, but it works really well. They jump right into that. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, that's obviously a challenge at first, and that gradually changes over time. In some cases, they're quiet all the way to the end, or kind of shy. And that comes out, but they still open up, definitely. And it's for me, it's extremely rewarding. You know, Todd and I were like, you know, we're all in tears the day they leave. So it's emotional for us. I've learned a lot. I've never done anything like that. I'm not a teacher. I never, you know, and I had a couple of kids come back last year, and they came up to me like, "Hi, Judy," and one of them came as alumni, and it made me feel so good that I was part of their growth experience that, you know, that year. And one of them had her hair all over her face the year she was in our group. I mean, literally like this. And then she comes back the next year and she's on stage. So I don't know, maybe I'm talking too much, but I really loved it. It's very rewarding. I can't wait to go back. You know, it's been great. So I told him first year, I said, I'm going to be a lifer as long as you'll have me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's wonderful.
And I think, again, I think with the training, we really do try to prepare you for everything. I think for the most part, the biggest issue is just having to deal with quiet kids and how do you get them to open up. You know, for the most part, we don't really have disciplinary issues. I think these are just really good kids. You know, they're there because of their own motivation. No one is forcing them to go to camp. You know, sometimes going to the camp can stir up a lot. So you might have students who are, you know, grappling with their gender identity or their sexual orientation. And, you know, they want to be able to confide in you, you know, about that. You know, there are other things that, you know, on rare occasions that, you know, if a student, you know, shares any information about that, they are somehow, you know, a victim of some type of physical or sexual abuse, you know, we are legally required, you know, to be able to report that. And that will go more detail in the training about like what will be those circumstances when, you know, that the information that a student is sharing with you, you know, is that. So that is also, you know, really important. Joe just had a great plug that, you know, we are having, for the Rotarians, we are having our district assembly on March 23rd, and Linda and I will be back. It'll pretty much be the same presentation and the district fair, but certainly we'll also be at the fair table, so that if you want to have a think about it, or if there are any other questions that come up between now and then, we would certainly welcome that. But let's hear what other questions you have. We are trying to keep it short and sweet, but anything else that people wanted to kind of clarify about anything about RYLA?
I do have a question. Sorry, I had to step away earlier. If we are already the certification with the protection, do I need to do that again?
You do not. You
Okay.
do not. No. So yes. So I think we've addressed. Yeah. This was. Yeah. That is. If you've already gone through it, you don't have to go through it again. It's just once.
Okay, great.
Joe, you have a question. You have your hand up.
Where's all the men? I see this nice room full of women, but I don't see any men.
Definitely men. male facilitators.
We need a few good men, to paraphrase a movie. We also need some amazing, awesome women. The gender at the camp, it's really interesting. Even among the students, it tends to be something like nearly 70% young women who are attending the camp. So the boys, the guys, are in a minority. Certainly, we will hope that we were having more men. You know, we also have a lot of returning facilitators who aren't here tonight that, you know, will be part of it. So yes, sometimes, of course, ideally, we would try to have gender balance with the facilitators, but, you know, it's also that combination of, you know, pairing, you know, returning facilitators with new staff. So I'll work it out once we know, like, who are the people that are with us. Yeah.
You had a question in the white shirt. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I saw you raise your hand.
Oh, is that me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, hi, Christine.
What's your
Yeah.
name?
White. I don't know that it's white.
It looks
I
white.
was just gonna say that, hi, Dad. I was just gonna say that the youth protection certification, it does expire
Oh,
after so and so years. So we might need to check that. It
after
does.
how many years?
I cannot tell you. I have a list for my club. Even after pandemic, some of them are expiring. So we
Okay.
may need to recheck. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to apply and then we're going to check out the list anyway, and we're going to cross check. So we will.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did RYLA in first time in 2022. So yeah, I don't know whether or not, you know, when mine is going to expire. So we'll definitely confirm that for everyone. And what parts of youth protection? Is it just the fingerprinting? I don't know if it's a matter of having to go through the interview, the reference again. Maybe it's just the fingerprinting, but I can certainly ask to have that clarified. Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. Well, and we're pleased to have Sylvia with us, Sylvia Berry. So she is our youth coordinator for District 5150, kind of having broad oversight of all things youth related within our district, including RYLA, Rotaract, Interact clubs. Sylvia, thank you for joining us tonight.
Sure, you guys are doing great work. I'm just here learning, so thank you for having me.
Great. All right. Well, any other final questions or anything? I'm just going to share my screen again, just with a couple other things. So I guess the other thing to note, if I can get, so hopefully that you will be able to join us as a facilitator. If you can't do the whole entire commitment of the camp, we are going to be looking for people to help with bus pickup and drop-offs in each of the 3 counties to make sure the students get on the bus, and then when they come home, get off the bus as they're getting picked up. We're always looking for help with like things like poster distribution. This might, whether it's this year or next year, anyone who's got a background in designing flyers and everything. So there's always going to be other ways to be involved. So I think everyone knows about our RYLA Camp website. There is also our YouTube channel, which again, if you go to the landing page of the RYLA website, that is, you can also access the youth the YouTube channel. So on the facilitators page, we have the facilitator video, and on the students page, we have a student video, and there's like the 2023 camp highlight experience. So there's a range of videos that you can just really help you to get to know more about the camp. And we just had those produced last year. Finally, I'll just say that what you see this image here are the affirmation bags. So everyone at the camp, the students, the alumni, the facilitators, has a bag with their name on it. And it's a tradition that throughout the camp, you write a note to, you know, each other. Just something about like, you know, a recognition or just how great it was to meet them. And then you get your bag when you leave the camp and when you take home. Often, again, more tears, more laughter, more smiles and everything. So this is just a way that we really hope that you can be part of RYLA in 2024, and that it's an affirming process. You know, it's your chance to affirm young people. It's a chance to affirm yourself, affirming, you know, being part of community. So I'll stop sharing my screen there, and just again, just to see if there's anything else that anybody else have any closing thoughts or anything like that. Great. Susan, Linda, any closing comments?
No, I just want to really encourage you to apply, even if you're not sure, and you'll get a call from us then really quickly, because it does take a little bit of time to get fingerprinted. The reference forms are quite long, and if the questions don't apply to you, your friends don't need to, you don't need to tell them your entire history back to what school you went to 35 years ago. You can just skip them, and some of the questions repeat themselves. So just know that you don't need to make it as detailed as it is.
And
Yeah,
Linda and I are here to help you through that process, but with our initial call, and then anytime after that, if you get hung up on something, we're here to help.
Yes.
Yeah, I think what Linda is referring to is that the application form that you get from Rotary as part of youth protection, we don't have any control over the questions that are asked about that. Again, as Linda said, you know, it might be asking you about high school, but yeah, we don't want you spending hours, you know, filling out this application, you know, for sure. Yeah.
But it's also the reference questions that our references get.
Yes. Oh, that's right. That they also get references, but again, just advise them that they don't need to provide exhaustive answers to everything. Can keep it short and sweet. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now. So now if you know,